All right, my friends, there are different ways to do this, but one way to do it, which is the kind of thing I feel like you're more likely to remember later, um, is really to just kind of like get started on the expansion. And, I'm super not going to expand this all the way out because that's a lot of work, but I might get started and just kind of check in with the pattern to make sure I've got this set up right. So since your n value is 11 on this one, you'll have 11 combination 0 for like that first coefficient, and then you'd have x cubed to the 11th, and then you'd have negative 2y to the 0. And so notice that in the pre-simplified version, this r value, matches the exponent on your b term, or b, what's b factor, I guess. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, and then your next one would have been 11 combination 1, and then times x cubed, but to the 10th, and then negative 2y this time would be to the first, okay? So we want to know like which term would simplify out and have x to the 9th and y to the 8th in it. So I'm just going to say, and we'd continue in this manner for a while. And so let's kind of work backwards. So where would this x to the 9th have come from? It would have come from that x cubed raised to another power. And so what would that power be if you were going to get a 9 there? Yeah, it would be a 3. And then where would the y to the 8th have come from? Well, it would have come from taking your b term, negative 2y, and raising that to the 8th. So now let's figure out what combination would need to go in front of it, because that would be an important part of your coefficient. So the pattern is that your r value matches the power on your b term. And so since the power on your b term is 8, I'd be going with 11 combination 8. And then, yeah, it would keep going, I shouldn't make it look like it goes forever. So I'll go ahead and say what the last term would have been. Last term would have been 11 combination 11, x cubed to the 0, and then negative 2y to the 11th, right? That would have been the last term. But really what we care about is this one. So the x to the 9th, y to the 8th term would have been 11 combination 8 times x cubed times negative 2y to the 8th. So now if I simplify it, 11 combination 8 would be 11 factorial divided by 11 minus 8 is 3 factorial, and then 8 factorial. This would be x to the 9th, and then this would have negative 2 to the 8th, and then times y to the 8th on it. So if you simplify this a little bit more, I'm just going to move things around. Let's add an equal sign here so my notation makes sense. So then I'll leave the factorial there for a second. I'm going to cancel the heck out of that in just a couple minutes. But for now, I'm going to multiply. I'm going to move that negative 2 to the 8th next to it because I don't want to forget that that is part of my coefficient. So now let's simplify. So 11 and 8, let's cancel that down. So 8 factorial and 11 factorial. And you end up with 11 times 10 times 9 left on the top. And then the 3 factorial, so I'm going to write that down. We'll have 11 times 10 times 9. The 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1, but I don't really want to write that. And then negative 2 to the 8th. Ew. Well, I think I'm just going to write that here for a second. Negative 2 to the 8th, first of all, it is positive, right? Because you got a positive exponent there. So it's like 2 to the 8th. There's a little work for you. Anyway, x to the 9th, y to the 8th. Okay. Now let's cancel stuff. So this 2 would definitely take one of these 2's out. So that's nice. So the math just got a little easier. That 3 would cancel with the 9. So you just have a 3 now. So that's lovely. Okay, so we end up with 11 times 10 times 3, which would be 330. And then we just got to multiply that by 2 7 times, and we'll totally have it. Anyway, good times. Okay, what's 2 to the 7th? Let's see. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Okay. So we would just need to multiply 330 times 128. All right, 330 times 128. I'm just going to grab my calculator for that part. I could do it without if I had to, but I don't want to. We're going to do 42,240. So that term, and I'm glad I didn't have to expand all of them. I'm glad they just asked me about that one. But that term would have had a coefficient of 42,240. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of glad I didn't have to go down and do all the addition for Pascal's triangle to get down to the 11th row to figure that out. Anyway, so the answer would be that the coefficient would have been that 4,240 deal. Woo! All right, my friends, I hope this is making sense. You'll get some practice with it in the homework. I think a lot of the practice will be a little easier, but watch out for when your A or B term isn't just like X or Y, like what we've done in the last two examples, because that's what you've seen in the last couple examples, is what I'll put on your test. So you want to be prepared for that. All right, take care, everybody.